Hey. All right. So thanks for joining me today. So today, wanted to come with y'all to give you a conversation topic that. Hey there, Vanessa. Today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that was really kind of timely this week. In case you guys haven't ever met me before, I'm Emma Sarah, and I'm from Compelled, Vibrant, and Oily, and I love my essential oils, and I'm also a holistic health coach, integrative health coach, and I am really into relational thinking and relational talks, and mind, body, spirit. We're all three in one, and so I really like to concentrate on not just the body and not just your mind. I just like to think about them all together, and that's what makes us whole people. And so anyway, this last week, I after 2 years, I hadn't had a virus or any type of illness before, not before, but in the last 2 years. And so I finally got the flu. It was so stinking frustrating because I went so long without getting sick, and the first time I got sick for a long time, it was with the flu. But it was only because I drank out of my sick husband's cup in the very middle of his flu. And so I did my very best to fight it, and I did a really, really great job. I have seen some people who got the flu that were so in the doghouse, and they were like really, really super sick. And yes, I had some moments, but I really persevered, and I'll share what I did with that on a different scope. But today I want to talk to you guys about a subject that I think we all can hear, and something that we can all identify with, and it's sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. Did you hear that? Sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. And I've been saying that statement for a really long time. My kids actually have heard it so many times. They actually, when they see me getting into a corner, like maybe, let's just face it, everybody. It doesn't matter if you have 2 kids or if you have 10 kids. Sometimes things need to be organized. And the busier we become in life, the easier it is to just kind of shove things in, maybe especially kids. They will shove things in closets, and if I'm not diligent to go and find out where all the socks are disappearing to, they might just all end up like under a chair somewhere or in a corner of a house. And so what'll happen is periodically, so in this case, my kids everybody had the flu. We have a family of 9. We have 7 kids. Yes, the Passion Planner is a great thing to have. We just got one of those, and I'll mention that a little bit later. But right now, what happened was, when you go on a trip and you come back, you can probably identify you have a lot of luggage. There's a lot of things that are just kind of shoved in a corner because you're trying to get back into life after a vacation. Well, this was no vacation. We had the flu, and the household was down for a good 10 days. And when we finally got back into living again, it was like kind of coming off a trip or something. You need to reorganize things. We're behind in homeschooling. Everything gets behind. The laundry gets behind. The dishes get behind, and everything gets behind. And so anyway, by the time it was time to get in there and put my sleeves up and try to bring order to the house, it was so overwhelming. There's just times when you're just going to have to step back, and you're going to just have to look at the situation. We live in an RV. We've been living in the RV for the last 2 years. We had a beautiful home in the country. We sold all of our stuff. We edited our life, and we're, quote unquote, living the American dream. We're living in our RV. We've done a lot of traveling. We've met a lot of people along the way. And we have helped a lot of people along the way. We've helped a lot of parents, and especially mothers who have felt like they were drowning in their circumstances because we arrived when they were in the middle of just knee deep in stuff that was over their head and overwhelming. And that's why I'm actually doing the scope. I'm doing the scope to help you all out when you get into that predicament where you see there's something in your life, whether it's a closet or maybe it's something relational. Maybe it's with your husband, or maybe it's with your wife, where you have to get knee deep in and put your sleeves up and get down to some dirty work so that way you can make a mess, so that you can change things. Then this scope is for you, because sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. And I want you to remind yourself that next time you're having to deal with an issue with your spouse and you're thinking, this stinks, I don't really want to deal with this issue. let's just be real. I mean, there's a lot of times, well, my husband and I will be in, a conversation or something, and I'm sharing my heart with him, and, some guys like to fix things, and they don't maybe all the time feel like they can fix what their wife is bringing to them, but it's not necessarily about fixing the problem as much as it is about recognizing that there is a mess that needs to be organized. And so you can use this scope today for real problems, real issues, real relational issues, and you can use this scope today for, just physical things, with dealing with messes, dealing with closets, dealing with laundry, dealing with whatever it is that you need to persevere through. So along my way, while we've been traveling in our RV, I have met moms who have gone years, I'm talking years, of just getting so overwhelmed with stuff, and especially big families, they can tend to accumulate a lot of stuff, and whether it's clothes and toys and crafts and you name it, it just begins to take a life on of its own. And what will happen is a lot of times is, parents will get overwhelmed, and they don't want to tackle anything anymore, and so things just keep piling on them, and before you know it, you're actually feeling like you're suffocating. You're looking around and you're getting, maybe anxiety, or you're stressed out because you see the mess, but you don't want to touch the mess, because touching the mess means you're going to make a bigger mess, and to make a bigger mess can seem overwhelming. So I'm going to give you some quick steps today that will hopefully allow you to get through that process quickly, with less stress than usual, and hopefully you and your spouse can watch this video together so you can kind of tackle things together. And really, in a marriage, you guys are in it together. You really have to be a team together, and if you leave something, husband's just your wife to handle, then you're not doing her any favors by adding some extra stress by making her be the one that deals with the messes. And I know not all husbands are that way. It's just a word to the husbands to be a helper in that sense, to help your wife feel like she's not drowning. And so the first thing is, when you go into, whether it's relational and your spouse wants to talk to you about something that's really deep and important to them, or if it's a bedroom or a living room or a project that you need to go tackle, the very first thing you want to do is just focus on the complete project. So before you even say anything to communicate, before you do anything to start tearing out boxes from the closet or looking through piles, the very first thing you need to do is just stop and mentally focus on the completed project. Because what will happen is, if you just look at the mess in front of you, you might just throw in the towel and say, let's just go out to eat instead, because it's a lot easier to go out and not have to deal with your problems. So the very first thing you want to do is focus on the complete project. That's right, focus on the completed project. So right when you're going in, you're not going to be thinking about, knee deep and, oh my goodness, the mess around, or the relational mess. You're going to be thinking the complete project. So the complete project, just to break it down for you, it might just be, at this office is a disaster. I can't even see my desktop. The completed project will be, I will see the desktop, that pile of papers will be missing, and just start just very small thinking, okay? And then it might be relational. Maybe you're going to sit down with your wife's husband, and she's about to say, I really need to talk to you right now. And you might think, oh no, this is going to add to my pile. This is going to add to my mess pile, and I don't know if I really want to deal with this right now. Stop and think about the complete project. My wife is coming to me right now, and the completed project is, I will heal her heart, and the completed project is going to be, she's going to be feeling better because I stopped and took the time to listen. So that's the number one thing. The number two thing is to not focus, okay? So if you're focusing on the complete project, you're not focusing on the mess. Number two is, do not focus on the mess, okay? This kind of sounds redundant and said it a different way. Yes, thank you, Facebook.com. Compelled Life is our Facebook page, and you can find us there. And so, number one, you're focusing on the complete project, so that means the very end result. And the number two thing is, in order to actually focus on the completed project, you have to not focus on the mess. So you just have to pretend like it's not there. Walk through the room and pretend, don't focus on the mess, okay? So relationally, your wife might have just blah all this stuff out to you. She might have just said, this is my stress, these are my concerns, this is my mess. And if a husband stops right there and he just looks like at all the stuff she just put out right there, it could be so overwhelming, because he might just think, she just told me all this stuff and it's just a mess. Okay, don't focus on the mess. If you focus on the mess, what will happen is you will experience frustration, agitation, depression, possibly, and you might just throw your hands in the air and just say, I'm done. I don't want to do any of this. And so welcome back, Vanessa. So number one, focus on the complete project. How you will do that is by number two, not focusing on the mess. Number three, okay, it's number three, and they're going to be like an encapsulation of what you need to do. And the first thing is to do, and this we're going to speak about the relational area right now, is the first thing you want to do is listen. So you're just going to listen. And then the second thing you're going to do is don't take offense. Hi, Sabrina, she's here. We're talking about today, sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. And everybody knows what I'm talking about with that. So yes, so really quick, I'm going to do a quick rundown for Sabrina. Sabrina, sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order, whether you're dealing with the closet or you're dealing with people. You're good now, where you're in. So the first thing is focus on a complete project. Number two is don't focus on the mess, because it'll bring frustration, agitation, possibly depression, and anxiety, okay? And number three is where you're at right now. The first thing to do is to listen. So that we're going to talk relationally about, first, sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. So this is if you're dealing with your spouse right now. The first thing you want to do is listen. And this is in number three. They're all encapsulated number three. So it'd be like 3A, okay? 3B is don't take offense. Okay, when your spouse comes to you and they bring the mess to you, okay, just listen. And number two is don't take offense. And the Compelled guy said, I'm listening. Hi, hun. Don't take offense. All right. And you know what? It's so easy sometimes when we're talking to our spouses and we're coming to the table with all of our junk and our mess. It's kind of hard sometimes not to put a little bit of accusation maybe behind what we're telling them. There might be like a little bit of if you didn't, or maybe if you did, then I wouldn't XYZ, or you know, the kids wouldn't do this or whatever. There might be a little bit of that. You know, on our side, we have to refrain from doing that. But if a little bit slips out, husbands, don't take offense. Okay? Yeah, so don't take offense is the second thing in that 3B. And now 3C is repeat back what you hear. And so what does that mean exactly? So you might say, so hun, what I'm hearing you say right now is basically you're overwhelmed and you don't think maybe I'm giving as much effort in helping with the kids in a certain area. And what I'm hearing from you is that you would do a lot better if I did just X, Y, Z. Whatever it is, but try to respond by repeating back to her what you're hearing, but with a little bit of what you can do to ease or alleviate the situation. So that's 3A, B, C. And the last one is 3D, is to try to come up together with a viable solution. So if you're going to make something, thank you, Compelled guy, if you're going to make something organized out of this chaotic mess, then you're going to have to come up with a viable solution. And you're going to have to stop and think, you know, what can we do together to make this not so messy when we walk away from it, to bring organization to this area. And so one of the things I actually told my husband, and this is where our oils come in, our wonderful oils, is I was noticing this last week. Yes. Thank you, Sabrina. So what I was thinking this last week was, sometimes women go through hormonal things, okay? And I'm not the kind of woman who likes to play the hormonal card all the time. I mean, yes, I'm a woman, but, you know, I don't like to use that as an opportunity to do things. So, yes, Vanessa, listen, don't take offense, repeat back what you hear, work together for a viable solution. She's listening. Thank you. Another thing is, too, when you're going to go in, and sometimes this is just the truth. Sometimes I can go into my kitchen and say nothing has changed, just me, okay? There's nothing changed. Same kitchen, same situation, different day. One day I can walk into that kitchen and just go in there and be ready to work, see a couple messes, and just take care of it. And there's other days I walk into that kitchen and I'm like, this is out of control, and this needs to be cleaned, and this is looking too dirty, or this is, and I get really detail orientated. You know, on those days when I start, you know, looking at the small things and I start stressing out about the small things, I have to take a step back and ask myself, yes, Sabrina's laughing. Okay, I have to ask myself, okay, so same kitchen, different day, I have a different attitude. So the first thing I want to do that number one thing in my house is personal accountability. And I'm not an angel, and I'm not a perfect woman. I make mistakes. And the number one thing I have hopefully done for my kids is, Vanessa had a day like that yesterday, is just say sorry. Okay, we have to like push a little, like let's just restart. Let's restart the day and say sorry. And so when I restart my day, I actually go to my oil cabinet. When I start when I'm just not hanging very well, and I'm like, okay, everything that I have within my person is not enough to be giving my family what they need today. I need a little support. So motivation is one that I use right here. Drop, reset button. Yeah. So this is motivation, and on days when I need to go tackle that big project because I know I'm going to need to make a mess to get things in order. Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Yes. So, and when you're button heads, reset. That's right. Reset, and put oils on your kids even. I'm serious. Put oil on them. Everybody has heard me talk about stress away so much, but I am not kidding. If you have opportunity to do the Zytoscan, I suggest doing the Zytoscan. When I did my Zytoscan, it said I needed stress away. It said I needed Rudavella, and they're out of Rudavella right now, but they do have stress away. And I seriously put a couple of drops on my tongue and rubbed some on my back, and I actually told my husband this. I said, you know, when I realized that I was PMSing a couple weeks ago and I was having a bad day, I actually told him, and I gave him this permission. I said, hun, if you look on the calendar and you see what time of month this is, and you know that I'm going to be like more stressed than usual, I will have less grace than usual, and it's just the truth, you know, like I don't like to be an ungracious woman, but there are times when I am, and you know, I don't want to be that kind of woman. But when I am, I told my husband, if I want to have this conversation with you, this courageous conversation, it is okay if you look at the calendar and you say, well, it looks like this might be that week. Remind me, and I will go, and I told him this, I will go get stress away, I will go get my motivation, I will oil myself up, give myself 10 to 20 minutes before I go talk to him. That is being fair to your spouses, ladies, okay? It's just being fair, okay? Because once I go there, I am now on even ground. I can think clearly. I can go without hopefully being accusatory. So very quickly here, what I wanted to talk to you really quick was one of my friends came up with this little card, and I have one. Fair warning, exactly, okay? We don't want any casualties, right? So anyway, they're little cards. They're just like a business card, and it's called a courageous conversation. And I'm going to see if I can get a hold of those so I can give some out. I'll ask him about them. But it's about having a courageous conversation. If you want to get things in order, sometimes you're going to have to make a mess. And when you're going to have to make a mess, it's really good to have this little card. It's about courageous conversation. It's about getting to the heart. I'm a bullet point person. I want to like get through things quickly. I want a quick result, and I don't want to have to, you know, get too emotional about the situation. I just want the job done, right? Oh, and Sabrina, we gave her a card a while back ago, and she said she still uses it. Yes, Chris Hogan, Courageous Conversations, and Vanessa, yes. So the Courageous Conversation, I'm just going to go through them very quickly. There's more to it, and you can go on his site, noblecause.com, I believe, or Noble Calling. But number one is, what is your most pressing issue? Okay, so when you sit down and there's a mess before you, you say, what is the most pressing issue? In addition to this, is there something else? Okay, this can be relational, and this seriously could be like if you go into a bedroom or a house or your office, you need to just stop and even have that courageous conversation with yourself. Like, okay, why am I freaking out here, and why does this day seem so hard? You know, what is my most pressing issue? Have a conversation with yourself if you need to. Okay, so number three, how is it affecting you? What will the future be like if nothing changes? Number five, what do you see as my responsibility for the issue? This can go both ways, husbands and wives. Number six, what do you see as your responsibility for the issue? Self-checks are important, Sabrina. Yes, that's right. And what does the preferable future look like to you? I mean, it could be like serious. I want to walk in a room and not see laundry taken over, okay? It could be like have a courageous conversation with your kids if you need to, all right? Number eight, what is the most powerful thing we could agree to ask God for, okay? We can ask God for things all day long and just kind of, you know, suck our thumbs or whatever. But seriously, what is the most powerful thing? The key word there is, what is the most powerful thing can you ask God for? Number nine, and this is all within the courageous conversation here, and I'm just reading the notes to you. Number nine, based upon the above, what is one thing that we cannot fail to do? Okay, courageous laundry conversation. Yeah, stinking laundry. Like, we have a family of 9. It's like never ending. I live in an RV. We have made it smaller, and it's still, I just don't know. I just don't know, okay? Number 10, what practical steps must we take to make this happen? That is what I call about coming down to your viable solution. That's number 3D, okay? What is the laundry monster, Sabrina? Oh my goodness, I have edited And this morning I went to the RV and I spent 3 hours organizing whatever, and then I went into the shower, which is not even a shower in an RV, it's just a laundry area, and I looked at my son, I was like, I thought I put it all away. Okay, that's it. It's the laundry monster, but it is a situation we have to think about this, okay? Every single day we have to make decisions, and laundry and feeding families and keeping people clean. And if you have a business, seriously, you know what I mean? You have to deal with this every single day. And so I'm hopefully just going to give you some tools. You know, this scope will be available on catch.me, and I'm at Compelled Health. You can watch it later on. If you need to re-watch it again, okay, if you're having a down day, check out the scope again. So number 4 is declutter often. What does that mean exactly? That means don't wait till it gets so crazy that you feel like you're going crazy. And so that means with your relationships, okay? Don't wait till you pop your top with your spouse before you go talk to him because you've had it up to here and now you're going to say something. That's not the time. The time is to do it in little portions. So declutter often. So if it means like once a week, say you know, like every Sunday, I don't have it with me right now, but my husband and I heard about the Passion Planner. So many people on Young Living are using it right now, and Dr. Jim Bob Hagerton suggested it. It's Passion Planner, I think it's .com. Anyway, him and I got these Passion Planners together, and that's hatch.me. Compelled Health is where you're going to find the rest of these. But anyway, when you can get into sync with your husband and get your planner together with your husband, and the Passion Planner is so neat because I'll maybe do a scope about that, but you actually have to dream a little bit in order to even have this planner going. And so when you see, my husband and I went out on a dinner date this last week, and he brought his Passion Planner, I brought mine, and then we had to look and see what was important to each other. Like, what's on your Passion Planner? What's on your Passion Planner? What's the most important thing for you to accomplish this week? And so when we sat there, it was so nice because I was able to look at his dream for the week and think, you know, how am I going to be able to help him accomplish that? And he was able to look at my planner and say, how am I going to be able to help her accomplish that? Marriage is 100%. For these people who say marriage is a 50-50, you are always going to be wanting, you're always going to be lacking, and you're always going to be thinking that you're giving more. If you just give 100%, that's all you can give, and you've done your job. So anyway, sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. Don't forget that. So when you walk into a relational problem, you know, instead of getting all frustrated and agitated or like not wanting to deal with it, no, it's 150 on both sides. I like that, Sabrina. It's 1,000%. You know what I'm saying? It's like it has to be so much more than, you know, just a small amount, or I've given my 25 or I've given my 10. You have to give everything that you have. Everything that you have. Okay, comparatively, my marriage would seem pretty great comparatively to most. Okay, but my kids live with us, okay? And they're probably not thinking it's the most best marriage in the world, okay? Because they only know what they see, all right? Because that is just the real deal, okay? As we have to work out things. My husband is around me a lot. He's retired, and so we're around each other a lot. And when you're around your spouse a lot more than like the people who are gone 50 to 60 hours a week, I'm going to guarantee you're going to have a lot more to talk about, okay? And not always on the positive end than most people. So sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. And so that you have to be willing to not clam up with your spouse. You have to be willing to be honest with yourself and to approach them not ready to tear off their heads and not ready to just shut them out. You need to listen. So really quickly, sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. Number 1, focus on the completed project. Whether that's a completed project of seeing the office tabletop and seeing the cubbies cleared, then that's a completed project goal. Maybe it's having your wife not be teary-eyed by the time you walk out and leave the room with a smile. Whatever it is, have in your mind what the focus is and the goal of whatever it is, the project that it is in front of you. Number 2 is do not focus on the mess. If you focus on the mess, you're seriously just going to want to keep your hands in the air and keep on rolling to somewhere that's funner or somewhere that's mentally not as stressful. So don't focus on the mess. You'll just get frustrated and agitated, okay? Number 3, and part of that number 2 is if you want to even right there stop and get your oils to not focus on the mess. If you need help, motivation, stress away, maybe Valor. Valor's a really good oil if you need to focus on, it will help calm you, but will also help you get really focused. So that's another good one is Valor. So number 3 is A through D, okay? Listen, don't take offense, repeat back what you hear, and try to come up with a viable solution. You know what? You can do that with your kids too. You can use these steps when your kid comes with a messy situation and she said and they did and you can just actually even use these steps to deal with them and help them to look at, okay, what is the complete, what do you want to happen with this situation? Okay, let's not focus on the mess here. You can actually use these steps with your kids too. So listen, don't take offense, repeat back what you hear, and come up with a viable solution. And number 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, very easy, is declutter often. What does that mean? That means don't wait till a mess gets so humongous and ginormous that you don't even want to touch it. And in the meantime, it's affecting and impacting your life negatively every day. So thank you for joining me today. I'm Emma Sarah. You can find me at CompelledHealth. Vanessa likes like laundry. Yes. Yes. Life is like a laundry bin. It just never ends. You know, the piles, they keep coming, and we need clean clothes though, you know? You need clean clothes, what can I say, okay? So sometimes you have to make a mess to get things in order. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will have this available on our catch count a little bit later, and thank you so much for stopping in. I'm Emma Sarah. Bye.